These other guys and their resumes, tell me about Dak.
Well, Dak Prescott took so much growth last year, and new head coach Mike McCarthy's getting this player that kind of did some stuff last year, throwing on the run at a really high level. The arm strength was on display, and a lot of understanding of protection in the empty set. Now, the knock is really in 2018 and 2019 struggled against good defense, 22 touchdowns and 20 turnovers. But when you watch the tape and you look him take steps towards understanding coverage in the play-action game, it's a big deal. 3-level post and then double crossers. What's this safety do? Does he stay back or does he jump up on one of those initial crossers? A great play-action fake, a good pocket, and as you flip it around, Dak's going to see that safety just get nosy on that crosser. And I love that he pulls this receiver towards the middle of the field. This is growth for Dak Prescott last year under Kellen Moore and the development of this offense. But it wasn't just the deep balls downfield. It was these little flash fakes where these linebackers just suck up a little bit and you're trying to get a seam down the middle of the field. You got to put your back foot on the ground and then rip this up over a linebacker, in front of a safety coming over the top from the backside, and then a guy from the front side. That's got to be really good ball placement. And again, just a different type of a trajectory on a throw. This one against Minnesota was one of his best throws of the year. 4 minutes to go, you're down 4, another flash fake. That nickel defender, he doesn't jump up on that fake. You better rip this ball in between one of the better covered linebackers and safeties in Kendricks and Harris. And again, ball placement up high on a face mask. Dak took a lot of steps with understanding the play-action game and ripping the ball. See it, trust it, and rip it. So there's a lot of pros, but there is the reality of the struggling against good defenses over the last 2 years that he and Jerry Jones and the Cowboys need to figure out an answer.
Well, to that end, Rob Nankovich sat in that very chair and said he hadn't seen enough, and every country has a different opinion, so to speak, that he wanted to see more if he were the Cowboys before really leveraging the franchise on this quarterback. Does anybody here have that inclination as well?
Well, so there may be more left to prove for Dak Prescott. We're talking about a player with limited postseason experience, but this is how quarterback contracts work, right? There are players with comparable, maybe even lesser resumes than Dak Prescott that have made boatloads of money. Jimmy Garoppolo got a huge contract after 6 starts in his career, and really not that many of major consequence. Most of those starts came when the 49ers were down and out after he was acquired by them during, I think, the 2017 in-season trade. So, yes, there is probably more that Dak Prescott could show, and maybe he will show. Maybe it'll be as soon as this year. But when you're his representation negotiating this quarterback contract deal, you're saying, all right, Dallas, what's the opportunity cost? You're going to either not use the franchise tag here, or you're going to not re-sign him. Let's see what you got. Like, go ahead and test the market and see what else is available for you, because it ain't pretty. And right. Dak has done pretty much everything you could expect out of a 4th-round pick, an exemplary teammate, and really the face of the franchise in so many ways, plus his production, that he's going to get paid.
They don't grow on trees.
And
how many times do we say
he's
that?
actually proved that he could lead that football team. He's proven that whenever you ask anyone in that locker room, any of the players, Ezekiel Elliott, all these guys that are heralded guys in that locker room, they ask him about Dak Prescott, and they say, he's our leader. He's the guy. He's the one that drives the train. He's the one that's setting up the meeting. He's the one grabbing the bull by the horns in the locker room and getting these guys where they need to be. I think he's shown that he can do all those things that you want your quarterback to do, except for winning the big game, except for advancing your team in the playoffs, deep into the playoffs, and making one of those type of runs, which I think he can do that, but they have to pay him and have him there in order to do so.
But this is why we sit here, because everything you said is right, and everything you said is right. Why hasn't it happened?
But no quarterback deals are done easy.
I was waiting for that. That was the
waiting for the aha moment, right?
But here's my thing. But
negotiations do take time, especially when they're of this caliber.
Of course.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is, or the reality of the matter is when teams find their quarterback, they don't haggle that much. The Rams didn't. The Eagles didn't.
This is Jerry.
Some teams just didn't.
We've seen difficult ones. Yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has taken a while.
But why is it so difficult? That's my point.
Because there's so much nuance involved with these quarterback contracts.
But if he was... listen, I know
Dallas Cowboys.
Sure,
yeah.
And
it's a whole different.
He paid Emmitt Smith and he paid Troy Aikman.
He'll pay him.
It took forever to get Zeke done. I mean,
it took a while to get Zeke done.
I think Owl is right with the world when Jerry's taking his time in Dallas.
It took a while to get Zeke done, yes, but Zeke had absolutely no leverage
All right, hold your fire. Hold your fire. Maybe our Hall of Fame quarterback, Steve Young, can weigh in on this. Steve, do you have an issue with how the Cowboys have handled Dak in his situation?
I don't have an issue as long as what they're saying to Dak is we're not completely committed. Now, people say, well, they offered him as much money as ever before. Still, Dak wants 4 years, you give him 3. It's like the Cowboys just have not gone all in, and I think Dak smells that. And Dak seems like a guy that is in no hurry, supremely confident. Doesn't seem like a guy that's worried. Remember last year we wanted to play through the contract. Look, I want to play another. I'll show you more. You want more? I'll keep showing you more. So in some ways, I think he's going to call their bluff, the Cowboys, and force them to do something. These astronomical deals. There's these existential deals for the Cowboys. Like, we're all in with Dak Prescott, and they're going to have to say it not just with the contract, but they're going to have to say it in words and actions and deeds. And I think Dak's going to force that out of them.
If he senses that there's been trepidation, and Steve, I think you're right that he likely has. I would say, in that situation, he'll hold their feet to the fire because it becomes an emotional issue as well.
Yes, and I agree with Steve wholeheartedly. But then it's going to make Dak look bad. You know, there's going to be people, fans, or people in that organization who go, man, public, Dak, you should take. You know, there's going to be people that are going to start to look at Dak a little bit differently. I use this analogy, like, listen, when my wife has come to me and say, hey, I want this bag, I go, nope, I don't want to spend that much money. And she goes, listen, I want this bag. I go, well, you're my wife, so you get what you want. You know, like, if Dak Prescott goes to the Cowboys and goes, well, listen, this is the number I want, if they really wanted to marry him, then they would have done it by now. It shouldn't be this hard. After sitting here and listening to you guys name off everything that he has accomplished and everything that he has done and everything that he is. And also, I've had very in-depth conversations about him with Kellen Moore, who I played with, and John Kitna, who I played with. Those guys rave about him. So I'm trying to figure out why the organization won't go.
Dan, that's why we're going to end up. That's why we're going to end up with a franchise tag.
Is that you, Steve? Where's Steve? Wait, you think we'll end up with the franchise tag?
Yeah, because Dak's proven I'm not going to capitulate, and I think we're all right? I mean, Dan, he's not going to capitulate. You give me, and I want to hear it. I want to see it in the numbers. I want to see everything. I don't get it. You franchise me again. I'll go play great football again, and I'll go somewhere else and prove you wrong again. I think it seems like that's the kind of guy that he is.
Well, interesting stuff. Either way, we're here now, and so the clock is ticking. Again, the new league year coming up March 18th. We'll have a deadline in terms of using the tag, so This was a different Ryan Tannehill that we saw last year that was confident with the football. And I don't know if I don't think you're going to lose that. I think a team is going to get a guy that now is super confident in his ability to make all the necessary and appropriate throws in Ryan Tannehill. I think that's true, and I think that confidence field is echoed with his teammates. I mean, it's an intangible, but it is in place in Tennessee. Those guys have spoken out. I believe they're being true to their word in supporting Ryan Tannehill in his return.
Derrick Henry amongst them. We'll see whether or not the Titans opt to use a tag on Ryan Tannehill. There's also been some buzz recently from a variety of people suggesting that a multi-year deal with Ryan Tannehill could be a priority for them even before that tag window closes. And Dan, you mentioned how this was kind of a confidence-building year for Ryan Tannehill this past season. I think and a lot would point out, a lot of us should point to that. When was the last time before last year that Ryan Tannehill had an above-average supporting cast? The answer may be never. Maybe have to go back to college.
Let me piggyback off that, right? If Ryan Tannehill came in the NFL in 2012, so let's wipe away his rookie year because that's often the case with rookies. Since then, 135 touchdowns, 67 interceptions. Yeah. That's really, really good quarterback play. Part of it was he didn't stay healthy in Miami and his supporting cast stunk. Yep. So you saw him stay healthy last year and be on a good football team and play really good football. I would argue that Ryan Tannehill is a much better quarterback than the nation presumes him to be because of what he started in Miami. But whoever gets him is going to get a really good starting quarterback in the NFL.
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and last year really mastered Arthur Smith, their play caller's play-action game. was really aggressive with the football, and then he made some plays with his feet, both in the play action, drop back game, and then on third downs. Now, was he a product of the dominant run game and really good offense? We don't know. But the tape showed last year that Tannehill was a guy that got his stinger back. He got his punch back, and he got a lot of confidence back. And you saw it with those tight window throws. We talked about the play action game, a little counter fake, and you're going to try and suck those linebackers up and replace them with just an intermediate level crossing route. The linebackers for Indy, they don't really bite on the fake. This is a difficult throw. Tannehill stares right in between those guys and says, I don't care. I'm confident that Corey Davis will get there. I'm going to place this ball exactly where I need to in a very small window, a very small space, but a confident and accurate throw. Having that stinger back was such a big deal. You're going to see another example, more play action pass. Do stuff that he sees really well, that he's really comfortable with. A little flash fake to that jet motion. You're going to try to get those underneath defenders and step up. And again, another intermediate, like 12, 15-yard throw. But those linebackers don't necessarily bite. So are you confident as a quarterback, even to put the ball in danger, to put the ball in harm's way? A little recoil, step up in the pocket, and again,